Good afternoon. Hi, everybody. Here we go. It's been an extraordinary year, challenging at times because we're working in this virtual environment. But we've had some wonderful speakers, some extraordinary speakers, some wonderful leaders who have come to us, shared their knowledge and experience, and blessed us with their stories and their insights and their great knowledge. And there is nobody who has made a deeper effort to make a greater impact on the Hostos students than my good friend Giovanni Derice, who joins us today to close us out for the spring 2022 and for the academic year 2021-2022. And I will not take away any of your time, Gio. I will turn it over to you. Welcome. We're happy to have you here, and take it away, my friend.
Thank you, Jason, for having me. I'm always happy to be back at Hostos. I was kidding around with somebody the other day, saying I really wish I was at Grand Concourse, like in person in that room, to do that work together. But we're gonna have an amazing time here. I know that there's a lot of things going on right now. It is the end of the semester. It is a close, and it's truly an honor to be here and do this final workshop with all of you. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that I truly am genuinely interested in, and I think you will be too. I think that this idea of failure and how much we try to avoid it might just be the reason why we have not met that greater version of success that we should be having. All of us are talking about. I know all of you are great leaders. Think about. Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me get a one in the chat if you can hear me. I just want to make sure I didn't get muted. Let me get a one in the chat. Can you hear me? Oh, okay, perfect. I can I see it in the chat. Perfect. So this idea of all of you being on here, it is 3:36 p.m. on a Friday, right? I'm sure you got tests, exams, papers that are due, children to take care of that are coming back from school. Like there's so many things that are pulling at you. And as I started to think about this last workshop, I was like, what else can I tell them? Like, what else can I possibly share with you that could be a gift? You've had amazing speakers, right? You've had Jessica Janier talk about the Move Your Mountains, and you had, I'm sure Arel came at some point during this semester, and you've had amazing people come and speak. And I was like, what am I gonna tell them? Like, what could I do to give them a gift that would ultimately set them up for ultimate success in life? If that is something that you are interested in, let me get a three in the chat. If you're like, Geo, tell me, like, I need to know about this, let me get a three in the chat. I just want to make sure we're in the right place. Andre's in the building. Leighton is in the building. Okay. Estelle. Oh, I love it. All right. Okay. All right. We're in the right place. All right. Perfect. So, this idea of failure, can anybody just define failure? Just put it in the chat. Like, when you think of failure, what's that first picture that pops up in your head? Like when you think of failure, what's that first picture that pops up in your head? Just let me see it in the chat real quick. Antithesis. Like, okay, keep going. Let me see what else. Like when you think of failure, what's like, oh, this is the thing that I think about. Shame. Ooh, Unica, yes. Andre, loss. Yes. Keep going. When you think of failure, what do you think about? Not accomplishing a goal, says Andrea. Yep. Okay. Keep going. Let me get two more. When you think of failure, Francine says, didn't achieve your goal. Yes. Right? Similar to what Andrea said about you missed the mark. Anybody else? Let me get one more before we go and move forward. Not even trying. Sabrina, you getting into my notes? Don't you be reading my slides? Get out of here. Right? So this is the thing that happens a lot of times with failure, right? We think about loss. We think about the fact that I aimed at something and missed. Estelle said frustration. Janelle said frustration as well, right? You think of, yo, I missed the mark. I'm frustrated. I've lost. I aimed at something that I wanted and I didn't get it. And then that word, there's a word there. Let me just make sure I give credit where credit's due. Yunaka said, shame. Shame. That word shame is worthy of the blame for why we don't get the success that we want. Shame is the name we give to the blame for why we don't achieve our success. Because, and tell me, put a 7 on the chat if this is true. Because of social media today, it appears as though everybody is watching our lives all of a sudden. Disregard the fact that we post the stuff that they're watching. We just feel like everybody, like I go on social media, I'm like, this guy on social media is on my block. How he on my block? Like I start feeling like this world that has billions of people in it all of a sudden starts to feel super small because of social media. Now, what that has also done for us is we now feel as though because of social media, every single person has access. Let me say this again. Every single person has access to a pedestal. Now, yours could be a little bit different. If I got more followers than you, maybe mine's a little different. If somebody else got more followers, maybe theirs is a little different. But we all, because of social media, now have a stage. And because we all have a stage, there's also pressure to make sure we perform. And because of the pressure of having to perform, what we do is we decide, someone said it earlier, not trying, well, I don't want to perform in front of this in the bright lights, because if I miss now, my failure is public. Put a 9 in the chat if that hit a nerve with you. Like if you're like, oh, hold on, you might be getting into somewhere, Geo, like that, like you talking about my failure nowadays can be publicized because of social media and the connection, how connected we are with each other. Lane said, I see 9s, right? So that becomes pressure for all of us, which is why I could understand someone saying, you know what, I'm not going to fail. I'm not even going to put myself in position to miss the mark, because if I miss it, I now become the person on Front Street that everybody's talking about. Every mistake is now being amplified. Will Smith does a slap, now he's in India for a month, right? Now you could say he was right or wrong or whatever you believe, but the reality is that that could be looked at as an epic failure for his career. Movies are being delayed. Movies are being canceled. He's not even in the country because of a slap, right? He's in hiding, essentially. And the reason why all of that happened, his failure was on a stage. His failure was for everyone to see. So now while everybody's like, oh my gosh, and then we're talking about him, what we don't realize is that because of how much attention we now have, we're scared to receive it. We're scared to receive the attention because what we've now realized is if I fail and everybody knows about it, I might be made fun of. I might be the next meme. I'm the next thing that they're talking about in the WhatsApp chat. Like I'm all over the place now. But I want us to think about this one question when we think about failure. I want you to go and think about it because we talked about all the negatives. Junior says, yes, it's rather ridiculous. Failures used to be seen as something to learn from. Instead, it's being used to shame you. Yes, Junior, absolutely. Absolutely. Tahina, nice. Thank you for coming. Right? So Junior is right. Before we were like, hey, don't just try it. Just try it. Now we're like, hey, you know, that person tried it and look what happened to them. I'm not going to be that person. So what do? You don't try. And I want us to go and ask this question to ourselves. I want you to ask the question of what is failure costing you? What is the fear of it costing you? What is the lack of trying costing you? What is the fear of failure costing you? Is it costing you stress, right? You're stressed out. What is it costing you? Feel free to put it in the chat. What is the fear of failure costing you? That fear is creating distance between what you want and what you could have. You're like, oh, no. I see progress, achieving goals, chance. What else? Like, what is it costing you? Until we understand what we're missing, we won't appreciate what we could have had. Peace of mind, missing opportunities, says Maria. Andre says regret. Unaka, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Or your true potential. Yes, right? These are the things: adventure, finding unfound treasure, unknown talents, untapped skills that you could have excelled at now or lost, or at now or lost. Like this is why I love talking to the leaders in this program. You get it, you understand it, and I want you to understand. Like this is just a reminder to remind us, hey, the price of me being so respectful of my fear is too expensive, and I need to put a stop to it. I need to stop letting this fear live rent free in my head, and I need to go and make the things that I've wished and hoped for to become a reality by no longer being imprisoned by my fear. My goal with this presentation, as you go into your next semester, the years to come, what I wanted to leave you with today is I wanted to leave you with this idea so that you can be free to pursue the highest version of you. I want you to be free. I want the chains to be broken. I want the shackles, the ball, everything to be gone so that you can run freely, lightly, directly to exactly what it is that you want. Like you can have that, but if we are not mindful of what the fear of failing is costing us, we might just keep on paying it. And I want you to know that, listen, there's not enough money to pay for the fear of failure. We need to go after our goals. And I'm going to share a couple of things for a couple of people that we know of and talk about fear from their perspective. And then we're going to dive in a little bit as to how can we change our perspective so that we can go and start making the fear of failing, let's make failure our friend instead of it being our foe. Let's make failure be our friend, not our foe. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. All right, so here's a quote by Albert Einstein. He said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we're used to when we used to create them." Albert Einstein is known as a genius, right? This quote is telling us that, hey, that new thing you want to do is going to require a new thing from you. The new thing you want to do, the new thing you want to experience, the new success you have not met yet that you want to meet is going to require a different kind of mindset. It's going to require a different kind of thinking. And if it's going to require a different kind of thinking, then that fear of failure, which normally makes us stay, I want you to understand, like, our fear of failure is like us putting a seatbelt and we strap ourselves in to the moment. But the thing is, the moment never passes. And so all we do is we relive our past. like, do you understand this? Like, we are reliving our past because of what that failure did to you. I want you to stop letting that failure beat you up. All of you, as you're listening to my voice right now, you know exactly the failure that stops you from trying to reach out for your opportunity. You know what it is. You know when that happened. You know exactly when the last time you tried and you said, I ain't doing this no more. That hurt too much. That hurt my feelings. I was too embarrassed. That was really a shameful moment. It hurt too much to miss. Do any, like, put a one in the chat if you have that moment right now in your head that you could think about it right now. You're like, Geo, I know the last time I tried something that I failed at, and that, if I'm honest, scares the living crap out of me. It scares me. That last time I tried, the last time I asked for an opportunity and somebody said no, the last time I went and asked for help for a class and I was made fun of, the last time I raised my hand in class, even if it's virtually, and someone's made fun of me for doing that, or I got those looks. Oh, you don't know the answer to this? Everybody else knows it but you. Like, does anybody like know what this is like? Like, do we experience this? Junior says, it's funny how we all have this wisdom and quotes from geniuses, yet very few follow them. Yes, right? Tahina says, it happens to the best of us. And Yunaka says yes. Tahina says yes, right? Like, we've all experienced this. Maybe it's that person you had a crush on. Like, I know I've had it. I know I've had a crush, build it up, had all the love, had the greatest love songs. I made sure my handwriting was really neat so that when I say, hey, circle yes or no to being my girlfriend, that the person wouldn't say, ugh, your handwriting is ugly. No way. Like, I remember the no. I remember the rejection. I remember the shame and embarrassment of that. And what happens is, too many of us, we park our car at the last time we failed. We don't fail forward, we fail and stop. Or even better, even worse, I should say, what you do is you make believe you're trying, but you know that really wasn't an attempt. Who's that in the room if we're honest? Put a 7 in the chat if you're like, you know what? I know I can try harder, but I just do just a little bit, right? My car is going off the cliff of success. Like, who is that? Like, who's the person who's like, I'm not lying. I'm here to be honest, Geo. I need some honest people in the room. Rena said 7, right? I need some honest people in the room who are willing to admit that I have not tried my best for whatever reason. Maybe it's failure. Maybe because you exerted too much effort before and you're not going to do it again. You'll be like, I'll be damned to give 110% and somebody else give 50%. So I'm not even going to try no more. I'm going to give 50% too, right? What's 7, right? I can do better. We all can do better, but what happens is there's a reason, something happened to our past, and instead of doing better, we got bitter. Instead of doing better, we got bitter. We're like, I'm upset. I'm protesting. I'm upset about this thing that failure taught me. Failure, you hurt me too hard, too badly. I am not in pursuit of you. No. And I want us to just think about this. This is a little secret. I didn't plan on sharing this with you all. Sometimes I want some of us to stop thinking of words like failure as just words, and I want you to think of failure as a person. Because when you have person, all of a sudden we could interact with it. So this is it's called personification. I talk to failure. I'm like, yo, failure, you ain't gonna get me today. Failure, you're not getting me today. Failure, I'm gonna make use of you. It's an ugly, stinky person. Dana is it's an ugly, stinky person. All right, that's who it is to you, right? But I want you to understand that failure, that ugly, stinky person, can also be your friend. Jermaine, good afternoon. Right? Like I want you to understand that friend, that your failure could be your friend, people. It could be your friend if you start to see it a little bit different. I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. So let's go to the next quote. Michael Jordan, right? One of the best basketball players ever. It's German. Sorry, German. German, got it. Not Jermaine. I appreciate. Sorry about that. German. So Michael Jordan has a quote where he says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I missed 9,000 shots. I've lost. Some of us said earlier, failure is losing. Michael Jordan, I've lost almost 300 games. He says in his mind, he's counting it. 26 times I've been trusted to take the last shot, and I've missed them. Then he says, I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Do you understand? Like, yo, Michael Jordan, you miss mad shots. Yeah, you have to fail to succeed. I want you to look at when you think of failure. I want you to think of failure like this. This coin, this is the heads. This is the tails. I want us to see failure specifically as just one side of this coin. It's just one side of this coin. And what it looks like when you fail is when we fail and we say, nah, I ain't doing this no more. What we do is we say, hey, you know what? I failed, and you throw it away. Right? You throw it away. And what we don't realize is when I threw that failure away, that other side of the coin, which was success, I also threw away. Continue, exactly. Do the Aaliyah. Dust yourself up and try again, right? Like, so, right? Like, we are literally the thing you've been praying, hoping for. That thing that you've been like, yo, I really want that as badly as I want to breathe. This is more than that. This is the real thing that I really wanted. That's the thing that I need in my life. I can't, like, and what happens is we throw it away because it hurts too much. It hurts too much, right? We throw it away. I remember the first time I spoke at Hostos, it was 2017, I believe. It may have been 2018 or 2017. I spoke, I was at 500 Grand Concourse or somewhere like that, or maybe in another location. I was speaking, it was the first time that I ever shared publicly. It's the first time I ever shared publicly that I had a true, genuine struggle to have children. A big struggle to have children. My wife and I, we were married at the time. Must have been, at that time, we were married for like 4 years. And we could not have kids. And it was killing me. And I, in a transparent moment with all of you, I shared, and I didn't plan on sharing this, but I wanted people to know that this is my struggle. My struggle is I want something so badly, and it's for some reason I'm not getting it. And I would be lying to you if I didn't say that I already made up a story in my head where I said, hey, not everybody's meant to have kids. You know, it's not everyone. Not everybody's meant to have kids. I make up stories. Anybody else like me make up stories so that the failure don't stink so bad? I know Tahina says that's a stinky friend, but I'm right, stinky person. Anybody else but me? Like, do anyone else like just put a virtual hand raised or put a 7 in the chat that you make up stories so that the failure don't stink? It's almost like failure is the thing that is a person who doesn't take a bath, and all I do is keep spraying perfume or cologne on it so that it doesn't stink that badly. Spray. But here's the reality. You could spray all you want, you still not clean. You need to take a bath. Failure, you need to take a bath. So we make up this story just so that it's easy to digest, but it still upsets our stomach if we're honest. It still upsets our stomach. The ones that don't need kids always have them, and the ones that want them always struggle. I've heard that before. As a matter of fact, Tahina, what you just said, I said that so many times. I've said it. Hey, look at this person. They had a kid by accident. That's not fair. And I make up this stuff, and what happened is instead of getting better, I got bitter. I said it earlier. Instead of getting better, I got bitter. I got bitter. And I said, no, you know what? How do I get better with this? And I'm going to talk to you about what we could do to shift it, to go from our failure to going to failing forward to help to get there. But just to go and not make this story too long, in 3 weeks, I'm about to have my first son. My first kid is coming in 3 weeks. My wife's belly's all, she's waddling, walking like a penguin now. But I think about this idea. Thank you. I see the tracks. Thank you for congratulations. I'm seeing this, and I'm sharing this with all of you because I think many of us, if we're honest, there's a thing that we've been hoping for, and we've left it 6 years ago. It's back there somewhere. It's not even in this decade. We're in 2022, so we're 2 years in this decade. Some of y'all have left whatever you wanted in the last decade, and you have not picked it up again. You haven't picked it up again. And I just want to be a reminder to let us all know that there's the expiration date that you think your dreams is not milk. Your dreams ain't milk. It's not, there's no expiration date. It may change. It may look a little bit different, but I want you to keep on trying. I want you to go and continue to fight, to continue to pursue. I want you to continue to go and chase after that success. Don't throw the coin away. Success is attached to that failure. Don't run from it. Run towards it. Take what you need from it. Do you guys ever hear this song, We Fall Down and We Get Up, We Fall Down, We Get Up? Yes, German, absolutely. I love that song. I love that song by Donnie McKirkland, right? Like, that's a great song. And I want to remind us because I don't want failure to take any more of your dreams away. I don't want them to take no more of your dreams away. Listen to Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison created the light bulb, says, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. He tried, there's this theory that he tried 10,000 times to figure out how to make the light bulb. He tried, and he said, yo, I didn't fail. He said, yo, I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. Oh, Rena said he stole it. He didn't figure it out. I gotta look that up, Rena. like he didn't figure it out, right? But this idea, like, and I love this quote, but let's listen to the quote though, right? Even if he didn't figure it out, right? He stole it from us. The idea is this, that with every attempt, we can absolutely learn something from it. We can learn something from it. Instead of looking at it as a bad thing, you now know what not to try again. And that information is just as valuable as knowing what to try. I'm gonna say that again. Knowing what not to try because you tried is just as valuable as knowing what to try that already worked. That information is valuable. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, he himself said he would never partner with a business that did not fail at least 3 times. I'm like, why would you want to work with somebody who failed 3 times? I ain't working with somebody like that. Get out of here. 3 times? That's a failure. And he said, no, the reason why, he explained this. He said, the reason why I don't want to work with anyone or partner with anyone who hasn't failed 3 times is because they don't have any information of what not to do. That information of knowing what not to do is just as valuable as knowing what to do. Put a 7 or 6 in the chat if you've ever been in a situation where you were like, I don't know which one to pick. You kind of stuck between a heart, right? You're like, I don't know. You just do this game right here. I don't know. And we sit there in the I don't know. And I'm saying here, Maria said, always me. Andre put a 6 in the chat, right? I don't want y'all doing this. I don't know what dance this is. Maybe this is going to go on TikTok. Somebody's going to do a dance with this, right? But this idea of staying stuck between here, but never moving forward. Where you at? Same place I was yesterday. Where you at? Same place I was last week. Where you at? Same place I was last semester. I'm in the same place I was 2 years ago. Right? You doing the any, mini, money. I love talking to y'all. So this idea of, hey, I'm not sure, I want you to understand that by pursuing the attempt, not being fearful of it, we then know. You're like, you know what? I don't like dating. You might go and say, hey, I like dating this type of person. And then you go and then say, hey, have you ever tried dating someone like this? I'm like, no, I haven't. But meanwhile, you're miserable in your relationships. You say, hey, I like this one type. That one type is not making you happy, but you said you like it. So you keep going to what you like and not trying something else you're not familiar with. And so what happens is you stay stuck in your dislikes. And now you all of a sudden got these mediocre relationships, mediocre jobs, mediocre grades, mediocre life, and nothing is exciting. You're like, oh my gosh, this is like womp, 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 womp. It's like white noise. It's just like enough. Tim said my husband wasn't my type, but he makes me happier than what my type was. You see? Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, I ain't lying, right? Like, it's this idea of too many times we're like, hey, I want to be inside the box. But let me tell you something right now. If you go shopping in the groceries, in the supermarket, the freshest things are not in boxes. Think about that. Let that sizzle in your spirit real quick. The freshest things are not in boxes. They tell you, hey, if you want to eat healthy, shop in the outer aisles. Why? You never see boxes there. Baby, I'm the box. Forget thinking outside the box. Right? I want you to think, I want you to understand this. I don't want no more limits. I want you to be free. I want you to be free. Abigail says, you preaching right now. Like, I want you to be free. I want you to be able to have access to all these things. I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, oops, maybe I did it. Oops, I did it again. No, I want you to be courageous enough to say, I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it, and I'm going to try it differently, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to keep going until I find what it is that I want, because that is what I want. I'm not settling for what I don't want, and I want all of you to have the best. I don't want you to go and say, hey, I have a little bit of experience. I need a friend like you, and I needed a friend like you in high school, Gio. Where you been at? I'm here now. Let's not worry about high school. I'm here now, Tahina. Right? So I want us to hold on to this idea. And I'm really harping on this idea because I want us to stop looking at failure as a foe. I want you to start looking at it as your friend. This is the last thing. Bob Ross said this. I want to just leave you with this idea because some of us who are afraid of making mistakes. He says, we don't make mistakes. We just have happy accidents. Now, for those who don't know anybody know who Bob Ross is? Just put it in the chat. I don't want to assume you don't know. Someone tell me, put it in the chat. Anybody can do it. Who's Bob Ross? Can anybody just put it in the chat and just say who he is? Abigail got it, right? Junior got it. A painter. And here's the thing about painting, right? How many of you have ever drawn something? Sabrina, you're right. It's a painter. You've written something and you're like, oh man, I messed up. And you threw it away. Anybody done this before? Like you threw something, you did something, and like, oh my gosh, I messed up, and you threw it away. You crumbled it, right? You're like, no, this is no good. What Bob Ross is saying here is he said he would paint some things, and I used to watch him on TV, right? He makes authoritative strokes, absolutely. So he would go and do something, and if he's saying basically what he would do when he made a mistake in his painting, he would turn that mistake into something else. He's like, oh man, I messed up there. You know what? Let's turn this into a tree. And he would make trees in a lot of places that he made mistakes. He would basically take the mistake and make something else out of it so that it wasn't like a mistake anymore. Instead, he calls it a happy accident. And we look at it, and at the end of it, when he's done, we're like, wow, that's such a nice art piece. What we don't realize is, this fro gets me every time, right? What we don't realize is those happy accidents, everyone else would have called them mistakes if they stopped. But he went forward and said, what can I make of this? He didn't stop at the mistake. He kept on going. He's getting creativity from his failures. You're saying it correctly. You're basically saying that failure can give me something. Too many times we keep thinking about what failure takes away from us. What is failure giving us is the question I have for all of us today. What is failure giving us? Or what are we refusing to get from failure? The pandemic was rough. Took a lot of things from us. If you've anybody, my condolences, if you lost anyone, loved ones, people you cared about, it was tough on a lot of people. Lost jobs, lost sense of peace. People have gotten paranoid. A lot of things has happened, right? Tahina, don't start with me with the gut. It's giving me, I got the pandemic 37 right now. So right, the pandemic took a lot of things. And I've always told people that if the pandemic is taking, I'm taking too. I'm going to take two. Failure, you want to take some of my self-esteem? I'm going to go and take some of your sting too. And I'm going to use you to go and take me to another level. Are you going to be my vitamins? Yeah, you have vegetables and I don't like you, but I'm going to eat my veggies so I can be strong. I'm not running from you anymore. I'm using you, and I'm going to choose to see you as my friend. When you see the bully as your friend, the bully all of a sudden doesn't want to bully you no more. But if failure can take some of this fat away, be a good friend. So I'm not listening. I'm not reading your messages no more. You're distracting me. You're too funny, right? Like this idea of what can you give me? That I want you to start seeing it as your friend. I'm saying you see it as your friend, like, yo, man, I like you. Like, we all of a sudden make failure feel like it's valuable. Oh, snap. Man, you know what? If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have tried harder. If it wasn't for you, failure, I wouldn't have known how badly I wanted this thing. A lot of times, what failure is doing is really testing us. Failure is really testing us. It's really saying, hey, Rose, you said you wanted this. Well, let's see how bad you want it. Because if I gave it to you the first time that you wanted it, you may not appreciate it for long. So let me go and, when you try for it, I'm going to go and take it away, and I'm going to see if you want it again. And if you don't reach back for it, then I know you did not want it in the first place that badly. What I want to do is I only want to be in the hands of someone who really wants me. And so because I only want to be in the hands of somebody who really wants me, I am not going to you because you didn't come back for me after I showed up the first time. Right? Sabrina says, I got fired during the pandemic and I took that as a vacation I really needed, and it gave me the opportunity to come back to school. Wow. Look at that, looking at it from a different lens. Tahina, I see you raise your hand. I'm gonna call you in a second. Right? So like this idea of, whoa, what if it's not all bad? What if it has something for me that's good for me? Let me engage with it. Let me think about it. Let me talk and see what can be produced from it. Right? So the stuff that we can have from it. Tahina, I saw you had your hand raised. I'm gonna do you have a question or you wanted to bring up something?
I wanted to connect something to what you were saying.
Go ahead.
When I was in high school or just school in general, it would be like teachers would decide, teachers that would bully us and tell us, oh, we don't care about the paycheck. I mean, we don't care about y'all, we come for the paycheck and stuff like that. And then it would be like students that bully me too. And tell me like, oh, I'm not going to be nothing in life. I'm not going to do nothing with myself. I'm going to be like these out here just wasting their time. And look it, I graduated high school on time and I'm in college now and I'm a part of an honor society. Like, no, you don't got to listen to nobody that's giving you negative energy. Whatever you believe in, that's what you're going to get.
Period. Right? Right? Like that. This is the thing that I want us to understand. And and failure has many faces. Right? It could be those people who bully you. It could be the things that you tried that didn't work. It has many faces, but I think what happens is if we always run from it, then we don't realize that, these are stepping stones, because where I'm trying to go is I'm trying to get some skyscraper views. I'm trying to be on the top of the Empire State Building looking down and be like, oh, wow, look at all those little things from up here. Like that's the level I want to get at, and I want you to get there. But we're not if we're always going to say, well, what's the easy way? What's the one that doesn't have failure? That's the thing that I'm looking for, right? It's fine. Is a fiend how you say my name? Well, I was thinking failure. Rose, say what you said. It's fine. How you say my name? How you say my name?
I'm sorry. I tried to type. It's funny how you.
Go ahead. Rose, you still there? Did we lose Rose? I wanted to hear what she was. It's funny. I wanted to see what she was saying. All right, let's move forward. I wanted to hear what Rose said. So let's go forward, right? So failure. I want us to look at failure as three things. Failure. We lost Rose, guys. Rose is gonna come back. So failure are feedbacks. They're telling us something for our next. If we skip it, we stay at our last with no new information, trying to tackle something new. They're feedback. So they're doing something, they're giving us something, they're telling us something for our next as we move forward. However, if we skip it, then what happens is as we move forward with no new information, it's almost as if we're going forward blindly. And it's like, hey, I got something. I want to show you something. Let me put some light on this so you don't go into that dark tunnel. Look at this. And so we wanted to look at it as feedback. You also want to look at failure as your teacher. What's the lesson? There's a quote that says, you don't win or lose, you win or learn. So if I'm not, like, right, Michael Jordan missed a bunch of shots, 9,000 of them. He lost 300 games. He missed 26 shots when he was called upon to win the game. And he probably learned a different way every single time to know how to do it better. right? So he's like, yeah, and then get confidence, and he's able to build that confidence and transfer it into other arenas, right? But it's their teachers, and then lastly, failure are attempts. There's failure doesn't when you fail, that means you actually tried. The worst thing you could do is say, I didn't even try. Hey, you took that class? Nah, man, I heard it's mad hard. Well, did you try doing it? Nope. Well, then how do you know it's hard for you? Well, I heard it was hard. So who though? Right? You ever put a 7 in the chat if you know how to do something that somebody else would think it's hard to do. If y'all know how to cook, that's me. All right, right? Like that's me. If you're like, yo, I know how to cook. It's hard for me, right? Some of you have skills, whether it's riding a bike, rollerblading, artwork, gifting, and like I know how to make outfits match like nobody business. Like Geo, I'm the matching queen, I'm the matching king. Geo, I'm like jokes, I'm funny, I'm a good public speaker. Some of you be going to Albany to go and do leadership stuff, talking and going to the Senate and all these different things. Like you do that stuff, and some people are like, yo, that's mad scary. I wouldn't go over there, man. Like those people over there, they like, and you go there with bold confidence, courage, and you go and wear your nice blue jackets, and y'all go and do the stuff that y'all do over there, right? And that takes great courage. And to somebody else, that might be the thing that would make them the most nervous, right? But you are able to go ahead and do that. You only get better at stuff as you keep on trying them. And every time you try, you learn something that makes you in position to have a better try the next time. So all these ideas, and hopefully by now I have built this nice case to go and say failure is no longer, the fear of it, is no longer going to rob me of the successes that I'm looking for. So yes, like Tahina says, yo, those people in high school was bullying me. Teacher said that, yo, you a waste of time, and I'm only over here for the check. You ain't gonna be nothing anyway. So I'm just gonna go and get the check and get these benefits and get tenure and all this stuff like that. I don't care about you. You ain't gonna be in this school anyway. You got your high school diploma. You going, you in college right now. You in honor society. Like, and so I want you to go and as we think of all the things that failure is costing us, I want you to start saying, hey, I want you to start writing notes. And I want to say, I'm thankful for failure because, like, we need to go ahead and start getting speeches. Right? I want you to start making some thank you speeches. You know how the Oscars and all these awards, and you're like, you know what, man, I could not have done this without. I want us to start having this paper and be like, you know what, do your thing. You know, they always say, like, hey, I'm thankful, you know, for the man above, you know, whoever you believe in, your family and stuff. But make sure you leave a little line for failure. And you're going to say, yo, man, you know what? I actually want one person I got to thank. I didn't want to say, I wanted to make sure I get this out. I wanted to thank failure. They're like, what? You want to thank failure? What are you talking about? I would like to thank failure for all the lessons it taught me. I would like to thank failure for all the feedback it gave me so I could make better guesses. I would like to thank failure for helping me to develop my courage to go and keep on going in spite of it. I would like to thank failure because it made me really realize how badly I wanted that thing in the first place. Because if you wanted it badly, you would not stop at the first knock. For some of you, coming to Hostos was you saying, I'm not done with that pursuit of an education yet. Who's that in the chat? Let me get a 1 in the chat if you're like, yo, you know what, Gio? I paused on my education, but I came back. I wasn't done. Right? I see the ones flood in the chat where maybe it didn't go exactly the way you wanted it to. Maybe you're not the age, you didn't go straight from high school to college. Maybe you had a child and you had to go and take a little bit of a break. I don't know what your story is as to why it happened, but I'm glad to say that if you're in this room right now, it's because you decided to pick it up again. You decided that I'm going to do it again. I'm going to make another attempt. And it's those people who are willing to make the other attempt, the ones who's like, I'm going to dust myself off and try again, right? That person is the person who deserves success, and success will come surrendering to you. Success will surrender because it's like, hey, Rose did not stop chasing me. Estelle did not stop chasing me. Francine didn't stop chasing me. Dolly Ann did not stop chasing me. Abigail said, I've been at Hostos for 7 long years, in and out of full-time, part-time, and now I'm going to my dream school this summer. Okay, can we get a virtual round of applause for Abigail, right? Like, going to your dream school. What does that mean? That means that even though 7 years passed, the dream school didn't expire. The dream school was still there. The timing just didn't match. But hey, now, Abigail going to that school now. Look at me now. And it's going to be an amazing story. It's an amazing story, Abby. That's dope, right? If we understand and say, yo, no more. No more. I don't care what it looks like anymore. Success, I don't care. If you give it to me in a paper bag, you give it to me in a nice box, I'm going to get it regardless. That is what we could do when we start to say, yo, failure, you my friend now. Failure, I got things to, I want you to start, when you leave here, German, when you leave here, I want you to say, yo, I want you to go and pick, call failure, leave a voicemail for failure and say, yo, we got things to do. Failure, we have things to accomplish. Failure, I'm like, what you talking about? I thought I knocked you out at the last episode. Nah, failure, I'm back and I'm stronger. So if you thought you're gonna pick on the same person you saw before, I've been doing my push-ups. I've been in the gym. You ain't getting me this time, right? Like this is the idea of what, when we start to look at it and work with it, all of a sudden it changes the game. But let me tell you this. This has been a big inspirational thing because I wanted you to understand failure is not your enemy. Failure is your friend. But I'll be honest, it's easier said than done to make failure your friend. It's easier said than done to fail forward, because I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you every failure still stings. I'm not lying. I'll be lying to you, say, hey man, when I see failure, I'll be like, ha ha, yeah. Like, no. I don't look at failure and say, hey, party all the time. No, that's not how you look at it. But what happens is I look at it and it does still sting. But what I do is I don't throw it away, because I know on the other side of the sting, there's success that I can still get from it. So I'm not like, hey, come, failure. You know where I live? Come over. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm no longer saying, hey, failure's in that neighborhood. Well, I'm not going over there anymore. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So here's this idea. How do we, if you ask me the question, Geo, what can I do to change the way I look at what I'm doing when it comes to failure so that I can get it to work for me instead of it working against me? What perspective, what ways can I see it? What can I try so that I am able to use it versus it using me? If you're ready to go and hear what the big change is, this is a big one. Let me get an 8 in the chat. We ain't put 8s in the chat yet. 8 is great. So let's go ahead and put an 8 in the chat if you are ready for the perspective shift that we are all going to make. Tell us. Hurry up already. Okay, right? Here it is. You might be, don't overlook this, but here it is. Experimenting. You know, like Geo, that was very melodramatic. You made it seem like it was going to be something bigger. So he said, I knew it, right? Experimenting is the perspective shift that when we make it, it'll change the game on how we see failure. Change the game completely, people. Let me break it down for you. How many of you put a virtual hand raised or put a 1 in the chat if you remember doing a science project, a science experiment while you were in school? Maybe you were like in middle school. The first time you started going and playing around with things, you saw some rocks or something or whatever you were learning. You did the pH. You started seeing what was acidic, what was base. Tahina, what school you went to, Tahina? You ain't got no science projects? Right?
I went to school in the hood.
Right? So Tahina, I went to school in the hood. We didn't do no science experiments. Okay, so here's the thing. For those who did not, Andre said he did science experiments. Okay, cool. Let me break it down. So those who never went and did a science experiment. When we would do these science experiments in class, right? In the beginning of the experiment, we had to come up with what was called a hypothesis. Anybody know what a hypothesis is? Put it in the chat. I just want to see, anyone know Andrea or Andrea, what is hypothesis? Just put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. What is hypothesis? Ooh, y'all coming with it. Okay, an educated guess. Absolutely. It's an educated guess. That's what a hypothesis is. And just say a possible answer to a research question. That's another way to say it, right? Simply, it's an educated guess. We're outside the experiment. We're about to do it, but I'm guessing what's going to be the outcome before I finish it. And again, it is an educated guess. Doesn't mean you know it with 100% certainty. Derice, I just did a hypothesis, right? I just took an educated guess. Right? So I want you, an educated guess is like, hey, I think I might know. I don't know. I'm not sure, but here's my guess. And then you would do the experiment, right? And at the end of the experiment, here's the two things that you found to be that was the outcomes. Either your hypothesis, your educated guess was proven correctly, or you made a discovery. You discovered something other than what your educated guess was, and now you have a different answer, and it's now new information that you now can go and put into your Rolodex. It's new information that you could download. I never did an experiment in school where I was like, oh man, my educated guess was wrong, man. Dang, I'm dumb. No. I was like, oh snap. Yo, I wasn't even caught up in the wrong. I was caught up in the discovery of the new. I wasn't so tied to what I said in my educated guess. That's old news. I was too caught up in new news, which is the discovery that I made in the experiment. And so too many times when I say I want us to start experimenting, I want us to do that because there is no way you can lose experimenting within reason, right? Like I'm not advocating for extracurricular activities. It's a whole different conversation. When I say experimenting, I'm talking about that thing you're fearful of that you've already given a story without the attempt. That thing where you're like, yo, go and try. When Jason says, hey, there's an amazing scholarship that I think some of you can qualify for, I don't want you to say, well, I won't get it and disqualify yourself. I want you to experiment with the idea and say, well, what is it going to take for me to get the scholarship? What ways can I look at this differently that I can learn something from this? Right? Like, I want us to think about it from that perspective. Experimenting takes away the loss. And if we don't find our educated guess to be true, we walk away with a discovery. Discovery. You are going to find something new. For some of you who are listening to me right now and you're tired of the old, at the end of an experiment, you're either proven correct or you discover something new. And I would almost argue it's actually more fun to be wrong. Like, it's actually more fun to be wrong in an experiment. And the cool thing about that is if the discovery is the prize, then I'm going to stay experimenting new things because I want to go and get new discoveries. So now all of a sudden, that thing that I was fearful of, I just put it in the context of an experiment so that the fear is removed. Because no longer am I concerned with missing the goal, right? My goal is discovery, right? So I'm no longer fearful of missing the goal. I'm not fearful of a loss because I can't lose. I'm going to either be proven correct or learn something that I did not know, right? Like, these are the things. And here's the cool thing. People get paid a lot of money to share their experiments, to share the results. Scientific method is another way of experimenting. Yes, German. Yeah. Right? You want to apply these things. Instead of shutting the door, you want to open up yourself to opportunities. I don't want no one in this room to ever miss opportunities anymore because it was labeled as fear. It was labeled as already failed. I want you to go and say, no, I'm going to experiment and start to play again with your dreams. start to engage again with your dreams. Start to engage again with your goals. So some of you who is like, the time for me to get into my dream school has passed, Abby has reminded us that's not true. For those of you who were here earlier when I shared the story of like, hey, my wife and I had a dream for 7 years and goals, and we held on, and we had many attempts and miscarriage and this things like that to get to a point now where we're 3 weeks away and the baby's kicking, heartbeats is strong. She kicks him every night to make sure she reminds him, hey, I'm here, right? Like, that's a reminder for me. And so I will tell you this, had I not had the failure, I would not have appreciated the success. Let me say that again. Sometimes we overlook the success because it didn't cost us anything. There wasn't no sacrifice. If Abigail got into her dream school immediately without the 7-year journey, she probably wouldn't have the same kind of energy. Now Abigail knows, hey, it's not about how long, it's how long am I willing to keep on going. If I keep on going, it's going to surrender to me. I am going to find you, right? Like, I want you to like in that movie, like almost like the movie Taken. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are, but just know I will find you, right? Like, I want you like I'm going to get you. Like, I'm going to keep on trying. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to get you. And so I want us to start thinking about that. Some of us, we have some experiments we need to pick back up again. There's some dreams and goals that we had that we thought they expired. I want you to, instead of expired, I want you to go back and experiment a different way of how to do it. All right? So we have about an hour, and I want us to start thinking about this. Here's what I'm hoping for. I am hoping that we can go and engage, and this is why I was so excited to go and be the last workshop of this spring workshop series. I was like, what can I give them? And my thought was, I need to give them permission to experiment this next 3 months. For the next 3 months, I want you to go and have 3 experiments. I want you to pick 3 experiments. We're going to talk about the areas. 3 experiments for the next 90 days. For the next 90 days, I want you to go and experiment in 3 specific areas. 3 areas you're going to get to pick. But the goal of this is, remember, when we experiment, we get what at the end? Let me just make sure that y'all following along. We've been laughing, we've been learning, hopefully. We got to do both of the L's, laugh and learn. What do we get at the end of the experiment? Results, right? Discovery. Yes, Estelle. Yes. We get discovery at the end of the experiment. We get answers. Yes. Here's the thing. Leighton, you're right. Many times when we do these things, we get solutions. We get, yes, Tahina, we get truth. Because a lot of us, what we do when we make up that story as to why we shouldn't do it because of the fear, what we really got is lies that we live out as truths. Because if we tell ourselves a lie long enough, it sounds true to us. Let me say that again. If we lie to ourselves long enough, it will sound true. I want us to stop. You're right. I want to stop. And right. Are you telling me? Are you telling me lies? I ain't telling you lies. I'm telling you, like, these are true. These are facts. I practice them, right? Abigail's shown it. Like this, these are facts, right? Like this idea of experimenting and trying so we don't lock ourselves out of our full potential is going to open up the doors. And so why we're doing these 3 experiments is because in 90 days, German, you're right, adjustments. These experiments are going to give us results. They're going to give us experiences. They're going to give us discoveries. They're going to give us newfound information we didn't have before. And because of them, our future educated guesses will be even more educated because of the education we got from the experiment. That was a mouthful. But our education that we get from our experiments will help us make better educated guesses. And so what will happen over time is we'll start off making a lot of discoveries, and then over time, realize that our educated guesses are more true and more accurate because of the newfound education we got from the experiment. So 3 experiments we're going to talk about, and I want us to work on this. There's 3 areas I want you to pick from this area, right? So I'm going to share with you this. This list of 6 is what people would categorize as human needs, right? We have a human need for certainty. What that means is you want to know, right? Like there's a level of like, I gotta trust something, Geo. I can't just not trust anything at all, right? So you want to trust whether it's your education, your skills, you want to have trust in your relationships. We all want something that we can be certain of. I'm sure of this. We need that. And when we think about certainty, in the sense of us as students, as human beings, certainty comes through training. Certainty comes through exposure, repetition, right? They say repetition is the mother of all learning. When we keep on repeating and working and practicing and showing up again, taking more shots, doing it again, taking more shots, experimenting, we will then have those educated guests. We'll be more sure of them because of it, right? So for some of us, we need to go and do an experiment in certainty. And what that means is you're saying for the next 30 days, I'm going to develop in this area that I am uncertain in. And in 30 days from now, I'm going to be more certain in this area of my life than I've ever been before. Some of you, I don't know who that is, but I just want to explain. That's what certainty is. So there's something you need to develop, something you need to have more trust in. You want to feel more confident in a certain area. That is the place you're going to focus on. But you want to make sure that you understand that it won't be certain without training. It won't be certain without practice. It won't be certain without you going under some teaching. If you want to be sure, it's going to need to be something that's tried, true, and tested. And so again, I said try. And experimenting is about trying. A lot of us said earlier when I said what is failure, a couple of you said not trying. So the only way we can fail in this experiment is to not have experimented at all. Sonia Joe says, that's so important. Experiments are taking chances on ourselves to enhance a better outcome of our lives. 100%. Well said, Sonia. Well said. That is what it is. I want you to understand that the safest bet and the best bet either any of you can make is the one on you. Right? The safest and the best. And I would argue is also the riskiest, right? It's risky, it's safe, but it's also the best person you could bet on. Bet on you. That's what we're going to do with these experiments. Next one, variety. Variety speaks to, we need some different stuff, right? You need something. Some of you, you've been doing the same old over and over again. You don't try nothing different. Now you're like, yo, Geo, what's the point? What happens is if you stay in the box, you got to get out the water. You got to get out the boat eventually, right? You got to get out the boat. There's some cool things to see outside the boat. You could go and live your life on a cruise, but sometimes the cruise got a dock and you need to get off the boat and visit that island. Go and see what's out there. So some of us, we're so stuck in our ways that we're not exposing ourselves to new things. And because we're not exposed to new things, we just stay with old things. And when you don't have those new things, these new ideas, you get left behind. So now for some of you, like, hey, I want to get a great job. Well, maybe that great job is looking for something new. And if all you come in with is the old, they're going to say, we got that already. Someone already does that here. What are some new ideas you have? And the way to go and expose yourself to new is to start trying something different, right? So for some of you, you might have like 2 left feet, like Geo. That might mean you need to take a salsa class. You're going to take a class, right? Like some of you, you're scared to go out in public in a dinner because you don't know how to which one's the dinner fork and which one is the salad fork. So you're scared to go out because you don't want to go and be shamed of not knowing. So hopefully when we get back in person, you'll have your amazing etiquette class, dinner etiquette class, where you can go and learn in Hostos exactly how to go and know which fork is what, and where to fold your napkin, and when to eat the bread, and when to eat the salad, and all that cool stuff, right? Right? We all had this. Rayon, I'm gonna tell you right now, I went to an event with a bunch of wealthy people, and I went on Google to watch and see real quick before anybody can catch me to know which fork is what. I'm like, I don't want them thinking I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm like on my phone, I'm like, yo, YouTube, what up? Which fork is what? And they showed the placement and everything. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not gonna embarrass myself, right? So we want to make sure that we expose ourselves to new things so that we're not caught without, out here red-handed. Hey, gotcha. You ain't know. No, experiment, explore with new things, right? Significance, we all want it, right? We all want to feel important. So I want you to start experimenting with things that are important. Make yourself valuable. Make yourself of service to somebody else, right? Like Jason was saying earlier, hopefully next year when we go and do some stuff, hopefully back in person, you get to do community service. You know what's cool? It's very significant in the years in the past when you would do the cleanups in the neighborhood, when you would go ahead and plant trees, right? I learned recently, I didn't know this, but I didn't know that some of these planting that the community people are doing in the community when they do community service actually helps to make sure that we have clean water. I had no idea. I was like, why y'all planting another tree here? What y'all doing? And then I learned about the green effect and how the water comes down, it gets filtered in the sewer and all these different things, and the water goes here. I'm like, all of that be happening? I didn't know that. And what happened? How did I get that? I got that by experimenting and having a conversation with someone that I normally would not have a conversation with. They're like, hey, we do green stuff. I was like, green stuff? I don't know what green stuff is. What's green stuff? I'm like, I don't care about no trees, right? I'm like, I don't care about trees and planting trees. Now, because of that newfound knowledge, when I see someone planting a tree, I'm like, thank you. I appreciate it. The water I had was clean, right? Like I now know differently because I was exposed. I explored. I was willing to be uncomfortable so that I can go and learn of all the important things that's happening around me, right? So we can make ourselves significant by doing community service, by going ahead, hey, okay, hey, Hostos is going to get us next year, but I'm not waiting. Maybe my next 90 days, I'm going to go volunteer somewhere. Jason says we will be volunteering in the parks this summer. Okay, there you go. Opportunity right there, people. Go and make yourself significant by participating in these endeavors. So when Jason makes a call and says, hey, we're looking for volunteers, he should not have to go and do that more than once because we know that there is value in doing it. Tahina says, I want to be a part of it. There you go, Tahina. Yeah, go plant them trees in the hood. Let them, and tell them too, yo, this is for our good, right? Like this is our good. We're going to take care of the planet. We're going to make sure it's green, make sure it stay around for our future babies and people. You know, TV. I love it. Right? So significance is important. We can do that by being helpful to others. Love and connection. That's about our relationships. For some of us, maybe I need to experiment differently how I communicate with someone that I love. Or maybe there's been a disconnect with someone that I love and care about, and I might need to revisit that. Maybe I looked at it from a wrong perspective, or I was stuck in my ways. Maybe I'll experiment a different approach. Maybe instead of tough love, I use a different kind of love. Or if I've been taken advantage of, maybe then I do tough love. But you experiment with it to see what happens. German says, I do volunteer work for a street block association every Saturday and Sunday before I go to church. German, that's dope. That's awesome. Really cool, right? So like these are the things you could do, right? So love and connection, that's more relationships. Growth is just what it sounds like, right? That's an area of growth where it could be like, spiritual growth. Maybe it's like, hey, what are you doing for your spirituality? Is it mental growth? Is it physical growth? I need to go and run longer, run faster, get bigger muscles, have more endurance. Maybe it's like, I need to go and grow my mind. So now maybe I'm watching documentaries, reading books, joining clubs, right? Doing internships. Like these are things you could go and have. And contribution is one of the highest forms of things. It's really, what do we do for others? Right? Like if you think about this, every time I've been to a funeral, the funeral that got the most tears is from the greatest servants. The ones where they're like, oh my God, so-and-so did this for me, so-and-so was this person for me, so-and-so was that. Right? Like that's the ones where people be crying. The ones where the person was selfish, that's the funeral that most people don't be coming to. Man, well, I ain't coming to that person's funeral. Whatever. I want you to leave a legacy. I want you to leave a footprint. I want whenever you walk around, someone feels your presence, right? And we can do that by contribution. Contribution and significance is very related with one another, right? So those are the areas I want you to focus on: certainty, variety, significance, love, connection. growth, or contribution. You're going to pick 3 of these areas. Now, I have some guiding questions for you. Number 1, here's a guiding question that can help us to think about which things should we go and do an experiment in. Well, I guess I can relax for the next 3 years because I've been working on all these over the last year. Sabrina, don't relax. Don't relax. If you relax, here's the interesting thing. I love that you said that. What happens is, I've noticed, when we stop sharpening our axe, that's metaphorically speaking, we've been sharpening the axe. What happens is, when we relax, the day we need to call on that axe, it won't be sharp. So I'm gonna stay ready so I don't have to get ready. So Sabrina, you ain't going dial it back a little bit, but don't sit on the couch now. Keep that axe sharp, right? You've been doing it all year, and I'm sure there's still places and areas that you can still get to the next level. Like, there's another level. As much as we think like, hey, I made it, there's another level. They always ask you, like, if you want to know how many levels are there, go outside, look up at the sky, and ask yourself, where does it end? If you want to think, hey, I've reached the top, I want you to go outside, look up in the sky, and ask yourself, where does it end? Right? Because we were like, yo, there's planes up there, you don't even see them. That's up in the sky, right? Thousands of feet up in the air. So I don't want us to get to a point where we get too comfortable, because then we never know when the challenge will call. If the challenge is never going to, the challenges in life don't have caller ID. I'm going to say this again. The challenges in life don't have caller ID. It ain't like when you got a bill collector and it calls and you're like, oh, that's my bank, I ain't picking up. Oh, that's the credit card, I ain't picking up. Oh, that's collections. No, it don't got no caller ID. It calls you and it says unknown. And then what happens is, our fear will say, I'll send it to voicemail. You might have like my wife, who has like 40 missed calls or something, right? You want to go and say, nah, I'm not scared of you. I already know that on the other side of fear is the things that I want in success. So if it's unknown, I'm going to pick it up. But here's when you will be more confident to pick that up. You'll be more confident to pick that up if you've been experimenting, if you've been making educated guesses, if you've been making discoveries, if you've been sharpening your axe over and over again, getting better and better, then all of a sudden, the call is nothing to fear. I'm going to pick you. What's up? Yo, you got to, I knew you would call. I stayed ready. So because I stayed ready, I'm not scared of the phone call. So stay sharp, Sabrina. I know you've been working hard. I'm not dismissing your hard work, but keep going. Keep being the hard worker that you are. By no means, I'm not saying don't ever take a day off, but please don't don't turn your life into a vacation and not have any work at all to do. So that's important. So here's some of the questions I want you to think about when you think of your experiments. When was the last time you did something for the first time? When was the last time you did something for the first time? When was the last time you did something for the first time? So this is in those areas you want to say, like, what is something new? Junior, you said 2 days ago. Junior, what did you do for the first time? I want to see. Maria said yesterday. Okay. I want to hear about these experiences. Did it teach you anything? Junior Maria, you said 2 days and yesterday. Let me hear it. Sabrina says, on Tuesday in class, I almost had a panic attack. Whoa, I feel like there's a story there. Maybe we could learn something. Anyone want to share? Go ahead, Junior. You said what?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, so on Wednesday was my uncle's birthday. So, and I had to get here fast. I usually like to take the slow route to get to my house. But I could take the train to get here. And so it was a new experience taking, the B train that I've never taken actually ever. And getting here and knowing that there's a different avenue to get home.
Wow. Junior, you know what's crazy about what you just said though? What's interesting is most people would think, oh, that's no big deal. You just took a different train. But here's the thing. You just opened yourself up to another option. And for a lot of us, I want you to understand this is Geo's definition. I don't know what your definition is. My definition of rich is not how much money I have, it's how many options I have. That's my definition of rich. Rich is options. You want to prove it? I've worked for a lot of millionaires before. When I go to a restaurant with a millionaire, they don't look at the menu and say, I only can have this. They say, we can choose whatever we want on this menu. They have options. Right?
Isn't that because they're millionaires?
Yeah, but there's the thing, though. That's what it opens you up to, though.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
if we really break it down and you say, like Junior, if you said to yourself, I had no choice but to go and walk and take the long way, you are now not exposed to this new way. The fact that you had an option now makes you, at least for me, I would go and ask myself, what other options can I create from the things that I already do that I thought was the only way it could be done? When we think of it, the only way it could only be done only this way, if you find the other way, you might find other people who are also looking for another way. And so now all of a sudden you become a pioneer, a door opener, a lane, like a person who created a lane for people to go into that they didn't even know. There's a very powerful thing when you could be the options creator. When you could open someone's mind. There's a quote that says, when you stretch a person's mind, it can never return back to the way it was originally. If you could stretch someone's mind, you allow them more space to put new things inside. Like this is what happens with options. So options is choice. Do I want ice cream? Do I want this? Or I want that? I want us to all have options. Do you want to pursue this degree? Do you want to go to this school or you want to go to that school, right? I want you to think of it as I have options. When is the last time you did something for the first time? I'm gonna be the first time parent. It's the new. I'm scared. I ain't lying to you. I'm scared. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Right? Right? But it's an experiment. I'm like, but then I started looking at it from the positive. Wow, I'm gonna get to see my wife as a mom. She's gonna get to see me as a dad. We're now gonna have a new hat to wear. I'm excited about the new of seeing her in a different light. For her to be able to see me in a different light. For us to see each other in different lights. That's the newness of the thing. That's exciting. Scary, but also exciting, right? Sonia said, I applied to university for the first time in my life. It was truly an eye-opener. I remember looking at the personal statements essays and I'm like, what did I get myself into? But I took a chance on myself anyway. It's so scary. Absolutely. I want us to understand that by no means is it not going to be scary. I'm not going to tell you it's not going to be scary. But here's the thing. Just like if you saw a scary movie over and over again, I promise you, if it made you scream the first time, you're not screaming exactly the same way the second, third, fourth, and fifth time because you know what's going to happen. Right? I don't know. Like, if I saw a movie already, a scary movie, it's not that scary anymore. So I want us to understand that if we try, we won't be as afraid moving forward. Junior says, once you make ice cream with it, can't go back to being the separate ingredients used to create it or anything really, right? Like, yeah, it's like water and oil. Sabrina says, lies. The Descent still scared me. I don't know what the Descent is, but you're making me feel like I ain't watching that either, right? like, I don't know what the Descent is, but apparently we were co-signing what you're saying, right? So no, but you take away the sting when you do the things over and over again, right? You get more education, you get a little bit level of confidence, so you get better. The opportunity may be still scary, but you're able as you grow to see it from a different perspective, and maybe if it was a level 10 scared, it could be a level 9, a level 8, at least at a level where it won't paralyze you to not move forward. Is the key, right? So I want you to think about that question. When was the last time you did something for the first time? If you've been doing the same thing over and over again, that's probably a sign you need to go and add some variety in your life, right? Variety is the spice of life, they say. So I want you to go start thinking about what are some new experiences that I can have that might open up the doors for you, show you something. Maybe some of you are like, hey, I need to go and introduce myself to a new cuisine. Like, I only eat this kind of food. Go to a different restaurant, and you'll never know. Maybe your future boo was there. Maybe your future business partner is there, right? Like there's something there in that other room that you're like, I've never been there. Make that your first time. I remember I went to ran our first 5K. I ran. I was like, ooh, that's different. Sabrina, raise your hand. Go ahead. Let me hear what you got to say.
So what happened on Tuesday was I had to do a poem about biology in front of the whole class. So I
Wow.
thought that I would be okay with it because I've done these workshops, and at first I would always type in the chat and I wouldn't get on to say anything at all. But I started to get on to speak every now and again. So I thought that that was taking the social anxiety that I have of speaking in public away. But when I got in front of the class, I literally just, I froze.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was back in elementary school. I almost was in full blown tears. Like by the time I was done, I was still physically shaking for at least 10 minutes after I was completely done and sitting back down. So that was something I did for the first time in a very, very long time. So it felt like the first time all over again.
Got you. Let me ask you a question. So you finished it, right?
Yeah,
What did you learn from that experience?
I absolutely do not want to do this ever again.
I never want to do this again. What would have happened if you didn't do it?
I wouldn't have felt I wouldn't have had that feeling. I got reminded of how I used to feel back when I was younger.
So let me ask you this question. Between when you were younger and this moment that just happened, when did you do it in between again?
Maybe in 2005. So was that 16 years ago?
Got you.
17 years ago?
Got you. And here's the thing, and I'm glad you. First of all, you sharing now, right? Which I think is, I appreciate you sharing that. And here's the reason why I asked that question: the reality of anything frightful is that if the gap in when I try again is too long, the thing gets bigger and I get smaller. So when I see something like, okay, well, I'm never talking again, you remind me of like what I said the first time I did a public speech. I'm a guy my first language was Creole. I'm Haitian American. My accent was so thick back in the days. I was probably the kid that you would say least likely to speak publicly for a living. Least likely, because they were making fun of me for using basic words. Basic words, like the word the. They're like, oh my gosh, that accent is so thick. Oh my goodness, what are you speaking? What language is that? And so when I look at that, then I went to public speaking for the first time. There were people taking selfies, cursing, throwing their foot up. They weren't listening to me. And in that moment, like I said earlier, I had to ask myself, how badly do I want this? And I'm not saying that you necessarily don't want to go and try again or all these things like that. What I'm saying is that moment, if there's you said 2005 or 2006, if there's like 16-year gaps between stuff, it's always going to be scary. And so my challenge to you is not so much, okay, well, yeah, that was scary. I was shaking 10 minutes after I was done, Geo. Like, I never want to do that again. My thought would be like, wow, that was so scary. I wonder if I could go and do it again, and maybe I'm shaking 5 minutes instead of 10. Like, there's an improvement there, Sabrina, and I'm like, I don't want you to miss your best, because when I hear what you're talking about, you came up, and I'm like, yo, she sounds very confident to me. You'd be the last person, after I just heard you speak, you'd be the last person I would think that was like, she can't talk publicly, because you sounded really sure of yourself. Sometimes we can have a bad day. We can have a moment where we're like, yo, I thought I was ready. I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm not doing it again. That means I'm going back into the lab. I'm about to experiment again. I got to go back and experiment. I thought I was ready. Doesn't mean you will never be ready. It just means that maybe, dang, I thought I was ready. I missed the mark. I'm coming back again. And so that's the only reason I'm staying on here for you, because I don't want you to miss that best opportunity. There's gonna be a promotion in your future where you're gonna be like a CEO, a boss, where you're gonna be a head manager, where you're gonna be leading people, and leaders have to lead people often by talking in front of a room. And so I don't want you to be the person who's always the follower because of the fact that, hey, I'm not gonna go and speak up because of this. And Jason wrote in the chat, by the way, I'm the shyest person in the room. I've seen Jake, I've hung out with Jason before, and like before workshops. He's not lying. He's not lying. He is shy. Here's the difference though. Jason has discovered what he's willing to go and work through that shyness because of the fact that he cares about all of you so much. And Sabrina, I believe that there's something you're going to eventually meet down the line that you care about so much so, and I don't want the moment you just had 2 days ago to be the thing that arrests your dreams or that opportunity from ever happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And again, it's not gonna be perfect. You might tell me, Gio, the next 3 times I did it, I was just as scared. And I'm telling
Probably
you,
will be.
yeah, right? And it may happen. But here's the thing. There's another side of the coin. It may not. And the only way for me to know is to not say no in advance. Don't close the door yet. Let's allow your future self to surprise the current version of you. Your future self is like, Sabrina, don't give up on me now. I'm gonna show up different. I promise you. The opportunity, the stars are gonna align. I'm gonna be good. Don't give up on me yet. And I just don't want that for you, because I know like potential is begging our present self to keep on going, because potential's in our future. And if we don't do it, we just miss it. And I don't want, that's the most expensive thing in the world. It's for you to go at the end of your life and be like, yeah, I could have done this like this, and I missed it because I had a bad moment. And we all have bad moments. We all fail. We all bomb. Even the funniest comedian, someone thought they weren't funny. Kevin Hart I'm a big fan of his. People threw chicken wings at him one time when he was telling a joke because he was corny. So I want you to understand, like, everyone has those moments. But that's what makes the end of your story that much more amazing, is when you have a moment where you're like, I froze one time, and you're gonna be able to tell somebody that story. I see in the chat, Sabrina, you are powerful. When you speak with strength. That's what I was saying, Sonia. I heard her. I'm like, yo, you talk and the earth shakes. It's just some days we miss it, but that doesn't mean you don't have it. So that was good. Thank you for sharing, by the way. Rose says, I know what you went through. I moved from Haiti a while ago. Yeah, you know exactly what I went through. Right? So I want you to think about that. When was the last time you did something for the first time? And maybe sometimes, and I like Sabrina said this, sometimes what happens is maybe you don't attack it directly from the thing. So if your fear is speaking, maybe you need to gain confidence over fear, period. So try your fear in a different arena, then borrow that confidence and then bring it back into the arena that you originally were fearful of. So sometimes that's what you need to do, right? Sometimes you need to go and borrow your confidence from one category and transfer it over into another category. So that's another way to go and do it. Here's another question I want you to think about. What are some I don't knows that I can explore? There's something you don't know already, something that you maybe are curious about. I want you to think about what those things are and ask yourself, how can I explore those things? So you may say, hey, I don't know what this is. Maybe it's like going to a different country. I don't know what these people are like. Well, if you don't know what these people are like, let's not make assumptions. Let's find out. Let's go and see. I don't know what European cuisine tastes like. Let me go try a European cuisine. I don't know about opera. I don't know if it's good or not, or if it's corny or boring. Go and find out, right? Like, there's these opportunities that we can have access to where we could turn our I don't knows into something that I do know, right? Don't dismiss yourself from an opportunity. Engage with it. Do it, right? Go into, hey, I'm join student government to practice my public speaking. I'm going to go and join this club and be one of the the highest members of the club, be the president, create a club, like do something where you put yourself in position to challenge yourself so you can turn those IDKs, which is I don't knows, into something that you do know. And you can have that confidence, that newfound knowledge from that. And then this is the last question I want you to think about. What is something you started doing, but then stopped when it didn't work? Right? Some of us, that's something we could relate to, right? We tried something once, it didn't work, and we said, it doesn't work. No, it's not that it doesn't work. Like one of my mentors says, all work works. It's either working for you or it's working on you. I'm gonna say that again. All work works. It's either working for you or it's working on you. And when it's working on you, it doesn't feel good. But eventually it will work for you because you will own the thing it was teaching you because you experimented. So at the end of all of this, what we will be left with is these amazing discoveries that we will have, right? The amazing discoveries. So I want you to think about this. Let's go back. Look at these areas. I want you to, just for the sake of the time that we have here today, I want you to pick one area and put it in the chat. What's one area that you will focus for at least 30 days in the next 90 to go and get better at? Where are you putting your experiment hat on or in? Which category? Put it in the chat. Let me see. Certainty, variety, significance, love, connection. I see growth. I see love and connection. Growth. I see a lot of growth. Contribution, says Francine. Okay. Growth. I see a lot of growth. Okay. Which one is driving in? Variety. I see variety. How far can my spiritual being grow? I like that. Love and connection. British said contribution. Okay. Good. I see a lot of contribution. I saw a lot of growth. A couple of love and connections. Jason is the one who said variety, which I think is a great one, right? Salimata, I think that's how you say the name. Variety, I like it. Sabrina says love and connection. Got my eye on someone. Okay, Sabrina, I see you. Right? Like, I ain't mad at it. Okay. I see Estelle says certainty and variety. Okay, cool. Right? So you're going to focus on this area, right? Whichever one you picked. And I want you to start to think and take about 2-3 minutes to think about the 3 questions to see how can I go and think of what am I going to do as far as an experiment. Is it going to be something that I do for the first time? Is it going to be something that I didn't know that I'm going to find out? Right? So even like Sabrina's like, I got my eye on someone, right? Well, I had my eye on my wife, right? She ain't know it. She put me in the friend zone, by the way. So that's how I started. But I still got her. I got her. So you can get out of the friend zone. Just don't want to be in the sister-brother zone. Like that's when it gets a little weird. Right? So the friend zone is okay. I had my eye on her. And the thing that I did that was uncomfortable was letting her know. I had to let it out. I was like, yo, I know this is going to risk our friendship, but kind of like you a little bit more than a friend. And in the beginning, I was met with, oh man, why can't I just have guy friends? Like, oh my gosh, like why does anybody like me? I'm like, go, calm down. Don't get your head too big now. I like you. I don't know about everybody else. But this idea of I got to get uncomfortable a little bit, get out of my box, right? Get out of the boat, step into the water, go onto the shore. And now looking back, I'm like, wow, man, it's been 10 years, about to be 11 years. July will be 11 years. It was 2011, right? So 11 years, 8 years married almost, no kid about to come. So like, these are the things was like I was fearful of losing the friendship. But I thought that there was an opportunity to get something even more than that. And so that fear could have stopped me, but I'm like, yo, I want more. And for some of you, I know y'all want more. If you didn't want more, you would not be attending a workshop on a Friday afternoon where you could be doing a lot of things. It's virtual, a lot of opportunities, the other things you could have been doing. But you said, yo, I'm going to come here because there's something I might get from it. You didn't know for sure, but you're like, hey, Tahina said, I got no life. You're going to get one when you come to these workshops, though. You're going to get one. If you apply what you learn, there is a greater life at the end of it, on the other side of it, right? Tahina's like, you're too funny though. You need a comedy show, right? Like you need this education, this access to information, exposure to all these different leaders with all these different experiences, and then even seeing that the people in the room that are just like you have similar experiences. So sometimes being in groups like these, being on sessions like these, where you're like, yo, I thought I was the only person that goes through this stuff. And then you hear somebody else and you're like, yo, I'm not alone. Wow. Somebody else goes through this like me. Right? So it creates connection as well when it comes to stuff like this. These groups help with my social skills, to be honest. No, 100%. I wish I was in a club when I was in college so I could develop those things. I had to learn it late. And it's never fun to learn it late, but you learn it when you
Stop talking about the past. We here now.
Yeah. So that's why you're right. You're right, Tahina. Right? Like we here right now. Focus on the future, right? So no, this is important. This is important for us to think about this. So when you think about these questions, when was the last time I did something when was the last time I did something for the first time? Did you try something new? What is something that I didn't know or I'm curious about? I wonder if this. Go find out. Don't stay on your wonder. Move and find out what it is. And then last but not least is just thinking about that last question we talked about, which is what is something you were doing that you started doing and you said, yo, nah, man, that didn't work out. And you quit the first time. Or you quit that first time you tried. Like, is there another attempt? Can I get more information? Can I get more education so that I can go and make a better educated guess? Who's brave enough? I'm just seeing who's in the room. Who's brave enough to tell us while we have a couple of minutes, and then if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them too about anything. What is an experiment that you're looking forward to doing in the next 90 days? It could be for 30 days, it could be for 60 days, it could be for 90 days. But what's one experiment that you're going to do? What is something you're going to try for the first time? Tell us. You can unmute yourself. Rayon, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Tell me, what is your experiment? And raise your hand so we can get the other people too.
Yes, but first of all, I must say thank you so much for coming on this afternoon and explaining all these things to us. It really means a lot to me personally. Like, I'm from the Caribbean, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I can totally agree. Like, it's so related to me, everything that you said. And like since I've lived here for the past 6 to 7 years, I've never been to any other state beside New York. So for my next 90 days, hopefully, I'm planning to go visit another state, hopefully, Florida. So I'm yeah, I'm excited and I'm nervous, but I just hope that, fingers crossed, that it will be a good experiment. Let's see what happens. Never know.
That's dope. I love Florida. I love Florida, man. Florida, I've been there so many times. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
Make sure you get some orange juice from Florida.
Okay.
The orange juice is different in Florida. I'm telling you, like literally, it's like, I don't know what it is in there, but it tastes like Kool-Aid or something. The orange juice, Tahina, don't be sleeping on it, Tahina. The orange juice, Sonia's knows, the orange juice in Florida is next level. Make sure it's fresh squeezed, but the orange juice is next level. That's the first thing my wife do when we get to Florida. We're like, yo, who got orange juice? We drink orange juice all the time in Florida. Tahina's like, Florida, here I come. But no, hang on, that's dope. That's good. And again, remember, Connecticut is nearby. Philadelphia is a train right away, bus right away. New Jersey's right across the water. So there's a lot of opportunities to explore new states and see different things that you may not have been exposed to. So
I totally agree with that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. And let us know. Like, make sure you report back. Tell Jason, I need to know what happens in Florida. Like, I need to know, did you agree with the orange juice part? Like did you try some new things out there? You might see a little lizard that just come out the garden or something. Just don't be afraid. No, it's okay.
Definitely, I will do that.
Cool. What does New York have that's good? Tahina, it got us. What you talking about? What does New York got that's good? Are you serious? New York got us. We good, right? They got us. So what is Tahina? What are you gonna experiment on? Let me hear it.
Me, I honestly don't know because I'll be doing too many things at one time. I know
You gotta
that.
pick one.
I don't know.
New
I really
York
don't know.
has bagels and pizza. It does have bagels and pizza. And Jason, I had both today, so you clearly knew what I had for breakfast and lunch. Like, right, it was bagels and pizza. But no, Tahina, I'm not letting you off the hook. We gotta figure something out. Like, what are you
Oh,
gonna
I thought I was
experiment?
done.
Nah, what you think this is? No, we about that life. What are you going to experiment with?
Give me an example. Give me an idea, something, please.
Tell me something you care about, because it gotta be something you care about.
Oh, I know experiment, but do it count? Like I like plants, right? And
Okay.
the past month, I don't know why. Like my obsession is to grow plants. Like I don't care what it is. It's just I need to grow it. And I'll be talking to my plants like it's human beings. Like, hi, little plant. Hope you have a good day. And mom be like, are you serious? And be like, yes, my plants have feelings, like just like human beings. So that's what I've been experimenting with so far.
How long have you been doing that for?
Like a month now.
How does it make you feel?
I don't know. I feel like myself. Because ever since I was younger, I like plants. I like nature and stuff like that. So it
So
makes me feel positive to talk to them.
let me ask you a question then. Have you ever been to the botanical gardens?
I've been there one time in elementary school. And I don't even remember, to be honest.
You gotta so that might be something. When did you go to the one in Brooklyn?
No, the one in the Bronx. And I just
When the
passed
one-
two not too long ago.
Yeah, so you gotta rekindle these things, right? Like you gotta go and see these new things. You got cherry blossoms out there. There's probably new flowers that you don't even know the names of them, right? Like you're like, yo, I didn't know this about that. Like I think experiments don't have to be like, oh my gosh, I went to another country. I want you just to experiment, period. Right? So it might be like I went and took like even I forgot the gentleman's name who said he took the B train, right? Like it's like right, you could literally do something small, but I want you to try though, so that muscle, that try muscle in you doesn't go and say, yo, we never did anything for a while. I want you to try something different or revisit something you have not seen in a while. So if you like, I went to elementary school and I went to see botanical gardens, then that might be something to go and look into and say, yo, let me go and try this. Let me go and do something different. Let me go and see these other plants. Go talk to some plants that you don't own, right? Like, right? Go talk to those nice plants. Take some pictures, you know what I'm saying, and post them online. But you want to expose yourself. That's what I've seen a lot with a lot of students is they don't get out the box. It's like they only know. So it's like all I know is Brooklyn. All I know is the Bronx. All I know is this. And I'm like, why is it that all we know when there's so much more to know? And so let's get out the box, right? Jay-Z once said that it's crazy how people from Brooklyn never go to Central Park because it's right there. They don't think it's a big deal. But people from other countries come and the first place they go is Central Park, right? And so we can literally take a train, pay our fare, $2, whatever it is nowadays, and go to the same place that someone paid $2,000 from another country to come and say, hey, we must stop at Central Park today, right? And so we want to go and tap into this. Like, let's break the walls down. Let's expose ourselves to more things, so that way we can go and say, oh, well, if this is all that's out there and this is just plants. So you go over there, you're gonna see like 200 plants. You're gonna be like, I thought there was like sunflower, roses, lilies, all these things, and then you start seeing like, yo, I can't even pronounce half of these flowers, right? I can't even pronounce these plants. And then you start to say, yo, I thought that it was just this. And I think what happens is when we start saying, it's not just this, there's 200 more, right? Like you go to Baskin Robbins and I'm thinking there's just vanilla and they're like, yo, we got 31 flavors. I'm like, how is there 31 flavors of ice cream? What y'all doing? But they made a whole company off just, yo, another flavor, right? And so I want us to experiment, mix things up. You go and mix your vanilla with pistachio and all of a sudden you create a new flavor. but I want you to start to go and experiment so that you could open up the doors for what could possibly be. Like that was my whole purpose of this whole presentation, is to get you to go and say, Geo, I'm going to open up the doors of possibilities. I'm going to give myself more chances. I'm going to open up more doors. Go ahead, Tina.
You just gave me an idea, because remember before you was talking about like, oh, something that you know how to do but other people may not, like cooking. Baby, I don't know how to cook like that, but that's another thing I've been experimenting with, and I made like probably like 5 different like Spanish dishes for my family, and they were like, oh my god, this is so good, and it's the first time I'm making it. Before I was like how you said before, also like being scared to make changes is not going to do nothing but keep you in the same spot. Before I was scared of cooking because I didn't want to burn my house down. I don't want to be one of those people. But you feel me? I stepped out my comfort zone and I made it happen. And I like, I don't know, I like cooking, but I'm not good at it. But I'm getting there. That's all that matters. You get progress.
You made progress, and those 5 dishes your family love. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the bougie restaurants, they don't really have more than 5 things on the menu anyway. They just do those things very well. Right? I'm like, yo, what the rest of the menu? They're like, we only serve chicken, fish, and steak. That's it. But they're like,
Wow.
but that's all we do. That's why we do it so well. We've been making steak all day for 365 days a year. How you think how am I not gonna make the steak better if all I do is cook these 3 things? And I'm like, you ain't never lied. This thing is the bomb, right? Like it's like next level. And so just even what you're doing with those experiments, right? It's like, yo, I make these 5 dishes, right? So now you might go and say you got 5 dishes. Now all of a sudden Cinco de Mayo, you make 5 dishes for Cinco de Mayo. like you good. You now you have your own little menu. Now, matter of fact, I'm coming to your house on Cinco de Mayo. I need those 5 dishes, right? Like this is the stuff that we could start to experiment when we start having fun with it. Don't think of the experiment as something that's, oh my gosh, so much pressure. Enjoy it. Smile. Learn. Learning should be fun. It shouldn't be like a pressure cooker, like, oh my gosh, it's a lie detector test, and if I fail, I'm going to go to jail or something. Like have fun with the experiment. Who else? Who else wants to tell me the experiment? I want to hear who's got an experiment that they're going to explore for the next 30 to 90 days. Someone says, what's your zodiac sign? I don't even follow zodiac signs, but I'm a Pisces. That's what I heard. My birthday is March 19th. Who else? I'm an Aquarius. When is your birthday, Tahina? What is an Aquarius?
My birthday is on February 11th. And Aquarius is the water barrier.
Got you.
You a fish.
Don't call me no fish. No,
you are a fish.
I know. She's like, you a fish. That's the first time anybody's ever called me a fish. Come on, people, tell me experiment. I'm curious.
Hello.
Yes, Layton, go ahead.
Yes. Usually my church and even Jason Littlefield, we go out, we help out the homeless. And I noticed we don't ask them enough questions. I think to myself, maybe if we talk to them more, maybe conversions back into the city or something positive like that. Thank you.
No, that's good. Yeah, go ahead, talk to them, have more conversations. Talk to them. I think a lot of times we look at homeless people and we don't think that they're like, okay, we only see them as the help, and we don't necessarily realize like they can help us. Some of the best one piece of advice I got was from a homeless guy, and it was at the time he was telling me, do you have any money? I said, no, I don't have anything. And he corrected me. He said, don't ever say that again. I said, who is this guy telling me don't ever say that again? What are you talking about? And he was like, if you don't have any money, say you don't have any money, but don't say you don't have anything, because you're alive. You actually have your life. That's something. I was like, yo, what the heck? I was like, yo, I was like, yo, I should have had $20. Like this, that thing reminded me in that moment, he reminded me that money is not life. But in my mind, when I said I don't have anything, that's what it sounded like. And so to understand, like, if we have deeper conversations, right? If we go and engage with people more, if we think outside of the box and not say, well, this is all that it is, we might open ourselves up to what else it could be. because of that. And so again, these experiments, people, are not only just about money, but it's about connection, relationships, significance. How do we get to our best version of ourselves and make sure that the fear of failure doesn't stop us from moving forward so that we don't meet that version of ourselves? That's super important. So thank you for sharing that. Who else want to go? We got like about 5 more minutes. Who else got an experiment? If you got a question, you can ask a question too. Just raise your hand and then we'll call on you. If you have a question, an experiment, put a 1 in the chat. I will be going out more for sure this summer. Yes, Sonia, you gotta go out. It's already warm. It's already 70-something degrees in May. So like this summer is gonna be a hot one for sure. Definitely get yourself out there. Go out more. Stay safe. This weather is bipolar. You're right. 1 minute you go wear a coat, you're like, I'm cold. Next minute you're like, this feels like a sauna. You gotta be ready for both.
one day I saw somebody have like a sweatsuit on, and another person 5 seconds later had a whole moose knuckle on. Then the other one had a nice sundress, and another person had shorts on. I'm like, this weather got me messed up. I don't even know what to wear.
I'm there. You gotta be ready for it all. German, go ahead. I see you have your hand raised.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is German Santos. I'm currently a Hostos alumni, a former college graduate back in 2016. I came to this workshop just to offer my support to a couple of students and to let them know, show determination, let that heart and soul out to whichever scientific experiment method based on what you have in mind, and more importantly, expand your mindset, because I understand this is a difficult time at the moment to improve our mental health, to improve our stigma, regardless of any situations that it's happening out there, whether if it's the pandemic of the coronavirus, COVID-19, or any situation that you guys are going through. Still continue to push yourselves out there. Still continue to find solutions and trying to fulfill your goals and your needs, no matter what happens. I just came here to support.
Thank you, German. Appreciate you. Thank you, alums from 2016 coming back 6 years later. Absolutely amazing. Andre says, good to see you again, Geo, Jason, and everyone. Great job as always, Geo. Good to have you with us. Andre, good, man. I see you doing your thing at your next school, and you're in the SGA too. So keep up the good work, man. Congratulations to you.
Thanks, Geo.
Sabrina, there goes Andre. There he is. All right. What sneakers you got on today?
Nike flip-flops.
Nike flip-flops. I got my Adidas on. But no, that's cool. Good to see you, man. Sabrina, I saw you had your hand raised. Go ahead. You still there, Sabrina?
Yeah. I think my experiment is going to be for the love connection. So like I said, I got my eye on someone. So something I don't do is I don't let the person, like you said, I don't let them even know that I even have a thing for them. That's going to be something different for me. And then another problem I have, I'm very aggressive, and everyone tells me I need to be more feminine. So I guess that'll be a challenge for me, to be a little bit more feminine.
I like that. I love the fact that you brought that up. That's a great experiment. Again, they're going to be people. The right person will appreciate what uniquely makes you, right? So we're not saying aggressive. Like, what does aggressive mean, right? Some people are like, well, this person tells me what they want, or whatever that definition is. But some people might appreciate that, right? I don't want you to be somebody you're not.
Oh no, I'm not going to be somebody I'm not. Absolutely not. But just, I guess I don't even know how to put it into. I guess the way that I treat all guys like they the homie. So even if I got a thing for you, I still treat you like you the homie. So I guess more people saying you can't treat somebody that you're trying to date like they're the homie, because then they're gonna look at you like you're the homie. So try to be, I guess, a little dainty, I guess.
No, I hear what you're saying though. I think that the first thing you said about letting it be known that there's an interest is important, right? Because if you don't, then I'm gonna think, hey, that's my home girl, that's my sister, and you don't want to be sister to someone you see somebody romantic, like you romantically have an interest in them. So that's an interesting one. I think that would be a good experiment though to see exactly what that actually looks like. That'd be super dope. That'd be super dope. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, relationships.
Yep.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Jeremy said in the chat, my experiment is to continue to challenge myself and have that determination to be a lifelong learner and to continue learning each day and night daily. Absolutely. Jeremy, thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through. Listen, people, I have something for you. First of all, did you guys find this beneficial? Just let me get the one in the chat if you found one thing beneficial in this training today. So I see ones, this was helpful. Okay, ones are flooding. So here's the thing I did for all of you. I'm always trying to get better. As you guys know, the human needs is growth. For me, I'm always trying to grow, always trying to make it better. Tahina says 1 million, 1 billion. Thank you, Tahina. I appreciate you. So in a way, I'm always trying to get better. And so if you can scan this QR code. It gives me a chance for you to go and tell me what that was like. Like, how did this training go? Did you get anything from it? What was your big takeaway? And as my big thank you to all of you, I created the Failing Forward Playbook. It's just basically the highlights of this workshop, but you'll get the highlights once you fill this out. So you can go to that URL, or you can go and scan the QR code. It just gives me a chance to get better. I'm always trying to figure out, how do I go next time? I don't want to always come back the same version of Geo. I'm trying to find, would you paste the link? Yes, Estelle, you're reading my mind. I was actually typing it in right now as you were saying it. And then just make sure you enter that code failing when it comes up. And once you're done, put a 3 in the chat so we know you're done. Like, just let me know once you finished it. It's real quick, 2 minutes. But once you're done, put a 2 in the chat. You're gonna get the playbook as well. I want to see who's first. Who's gonna finish first? But there's been an amazing time. I'm so glad that I was able to be with all of you. It is actually not only your final workshop, it's my final presentation before I be a dad. So this is cool. There's a finale on both ends. But there you go. Abby is done. Thank you, Abby Botang. Abigail's Daniel is done. Who else is done? Go ahead. Just tell me if you're done filling that in. I need to see that chat flooded. If anybody got any questions, please go ahead and ask them as well. Sabrina's done. Thank you, Sabrina. Who else? Lamb's done. All right. Okay, good. Give me that feedback. Get your playbook. Help me help you get better. I can't end this without saying thank you to Jason for having me back. I've been, like I said, since 2017. Always coming back to Hostos as a home away from home for me. I hope that I get to come back home in person next semester. Francine's done, Tahina's done, Andre's done. Thank you. But please do not attend workshops like these and do what people do in Las Vegas, where they're like, hey, what happens here stays here. Take the information, experiment with the information, make your educated guess, see if you're right, or make a discovery. But either way, we going up. Lee N, you say you can't find the code. It's right here on the screen. It's called failing. Just type the word failing, and when you get the prompt, and you'll be good to go. But thank you all. Jason, thanks again. You are absolutely awesome. I will be sending you direct messages for parenting tips as I engage in this new journey. but I'm excited. I'm sure it's going to go well. And I thank all of you.
So thank you, Gio, for being here with us. I really appreciate you making time for us. And it was awesome. And I think everybody got something from you today, as always. Congratulations on the baby. I wish you all the best and everything goes well. And then good luck getting some sleep for the first 3 to 6 months. Because I know you and your wife share responsibility.
Did you see the picture online of my wife taking a picture of me sleeping?
You ain't gonna sleep.
Yeah.
Give it up.
Are you having
know?
twins?
Say that again.
Are you having twins?
Estelle, if I was having twins, I wouldn't
I'll be a babysitter.
Jill, there's
Estelle,
one piece of
thank
advice
you.
I can
I'm gonna
give.
remember that. What you say,
Get all the
Junior?
sleep you can get for now.
Junior, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to get my sleep now while I can.
Yeah.
So I'm going to
Thank you.
remove the pins here, and hopefully we can all see each other. I want to thank everybody who is here today and everybody who's been part of the program this year. It's been a strange year, but also a very rewarding time. All of you have sort of made an impact on me, taught me a lot of things about myself, and given me a lot of hope for the future, as have the people, from all the years past. This time of year would be normally a celebration time, and we'd be together and probably be high-fiving and hugging at the end of this workshop because, it is a journey. But I think it's a worthwhile journey that we take. I think that all of the folks who've come and spoken to us, shared their knowledge and experience, have been beneficial to the growth of all of us. And I include myself amongst you because we are like a family, we are like a unit, we are like a core of individuals trying to make the world a better place. And that's why we do this. That's why we come together and spend these, 2 hours each week trying to sort of get a better understanding of what's going on, how we can make ourselves better, how we can make the world better, and how we can be a benefit to those around us, both in our homes and in our societies. And so thank you for going on this journey with me. I value you and I appreciate you beyond anything that you can imagine. Anybody that you've had interaction with at Hostos is a valuable experience, and I don't want to discredit that in any way. But know that for the rest of your lives, you will be the folks that I look to. And those of you that have been to my office this week can testify to this because my office is covered in photos of all of the folks who've been part of this program over the course of the last 14 years. And somehow I'm going to include all of you in some of those photos as I move forward. But know that you make me proud by your actions, by your willingness to explore yourselves and opportunities. And I think Geo's presentation today sort of encapsulates that. As you move forward, as you have this time off from workshops, if you have this time off from school, if you can, as you have this time to sort of reflect on everything that you've done over the course of the last 7, 8, 9 months, take advantage of the opportunity to open up the doors to new things because it really is the way that you can find things that you never thought that you were going to find. I mean, my story on getting to Hostos is I was never an administrator. I was a teacher and a professor and a theater person and all this other kind of stuff. And somebody showed me the advertisement for the job at Hostos, student leadership coordinator. And I looked at the first top half and I was like, I don't do any of that. I've never done that. I've never done a budget. I've never planned anything. I've never, all these things. I don't know what to do. And the person who was my former student, a high school student, she looked at the bottom part and she said, look at that bottom part. You do all of those things and you do them extremely well. And so I applied for the job and somehow I got it. And it's been the best decision I made in my life, the best job I've ever had. And I love going to Hostos and being with you. I love being on these sessions with you. I weep for the the volunteer projects that we weren't able to do, that we had to postpone, because being out there and planting a tree or giving a book to a child or singing to senior citizens in Chinatown, there's some people on here who've done that. I mean, it changes your life. It makes you feel like you've actually accomplished something. And it only takes a 5-minute journey, right? To get to the place and do that one little thing. And all of a sudden, you've realized that how important you actually are. So if there are days when you feel like you're challenged to understand how valuable you are, and I'm sure some of you may feel that and some of you may not, just know that you are extremely valuable, and I value you, and I will continue to value you for the rest of your lives. And as I always say, this is either you stop breathing or I stop breathing. I don't want to be morbid or anything, but I'm going to love you, and I'm going to embrace you, and I'm going to support you as long as I possibly can. and I will be here for you. So please lean on me, and please look to me, and please ask me to write that letter of recommendation. Please ask me to help you get that scholarship. Please ask me to help you get to, that college, that university that you want to get to, right? And I'll be here and I'll be able to support you. So I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you for your contribution. I want to thank you on behalf of Hostos for your contribution. And I look forward to seeing you. And just a couple of reminders. I know Saba posted it in the chat. Please fill out the surveys for us, because we need to show people on our campus that the work that we're doing here is important and valuable, and that the folks like Geo and Arel and Jessica and Brian and Namibia and Christina and everybody who's joined us over the course of the year is a valuable asset to us. So please fill out that survey so they can submit that on your behalf as a review of this year. And then also, I hope that you'll be able to join us on May 26th. It's not the same as being in person, 200 strong in the cafeteria with alumni and current members, and taking pictures and having speeches, and everybody just dressed up to the nines, and all those tables and all the fire that we put together and the candle lighting. It's a little different virtually, but I really hope that I'll see you at 8 o'clock on May 26th for like 30 minutes, just so that I can look at your beautiful faces. I can share a couple of thoughts, and we can light those candles together and share the torch of knowledge that is everything that we've done here, because that sends me flying. And I'm going to be in another country, the whole thing. But I'm gonna make sure that whatever I have to do, I'll be at 2 o'clock in the morning where I'll be. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be there, and be there to share my light and my candle with all of you. And so I really look forward to you all being there, and I love you, and I really wish you all the best. For those that are graduating, congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. For those of you that are continuing on, I hope that you will embrace this when we get back next fall, and whatever means it is, whether it's virtual or in person. I hope it's in person. God, I hope it's in person. Whatever means it is, because you're still part of this program. You never get out of this program. I mean, I'm not forcing you. I don't say you can't leave, but I'm saying, once you're a member, you're a part of the family, and you're always welcome to join us. And it was nice to see some of our alumni today. It was nice to see Arena join us earlier on. So please know that you're always welcome to come back and join us. And that being said, I want to wish you a happy weekend. I hope the weather is beautiful where you are, and I will see you soon. Feel free to drop by the office next week. I'll still be in the office. We're giving out the candles and the pins if you want to do that. And I love you, and I wish you all the best. And Gio, thank you very much for everything. Good luck with everything, and I'll just say goodbye to everybody now. Andre, Saba, Leighton, Layla, Estelle, Junior, Francine, Sabrina, great job. Lamb, Andrea, Maria, Dalian, Abby, Unaka, thank you. Who else? German, Salimata, Tahina, always funny. You got it. Abigail, Janelli, Rose, it was great to see you. Sonia Joe, thank you. And Annie. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend, and I will see you soon. God bless. Love you all.
Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Jason.